Hi guys, welcome back to the Terriers Talk Weekly Review, episode 15 now. And it's another busy week. It's two in a row. Naturally, with it being the transfer window, it's going to be a lot to talk about. So I think we'll just get right into it. And Ben, with his posh green screen showing me and Jay up, I think it's let's talk about Romoney Critchlow first, who obviously went to Swindon Town on a season-long loan. What do you make of that move?
I think it's a really good move. Obviously, Romoney Edmonds-Green went to Swindon and achieved promotion with them. Not last season, the season before. But it's a move that makes sense. While potentially, I think it would have been nice to keep him involved, at least either him or Romoney Edmonds-Green. I think it is a move that makes sense and gets him a full season of professional football. And obviously, we've seen how good Romoney Edmonds-Green has been on his return, even though he's not still at the club now. We saw how much that move did help him a full season of professional football, and where he will be one of the starting centre backs. You'd believe it will only do his confidence leaps and bounds, and who knows, in the space of next season, he could be a lot more up there in the club. I think it is just a loan deal that makes sense. I mean, obviously, I think he played last night when we're filming this in the cup. I don't think they went through, but I mean, he's definitely been involved so far, and the fans seem to really like him, so it's only going to prove well for us. Jay, would you say that it's a good move for him to kind of mirror what Romoney Edmonds-Green's done, or do you think he probably should have stayed at the club maybe?
No, I mean, I completely agree with you. You said it's a loan that makes sense. I think you've hit the nail on the head there. Thankfully, we're in a position now where we can quite comfortably offload some centre-halves to get some experience elsewhere. I feel that last season, absolutely not. And you only have to look as far as his performance against Nottingham Forest, where he was basically essential to all things good that came. But this season, thankfully, we're in that position where we can say, yeah, you go flourish, spread your wings, and come back a better footballer. I think that's what will happen. I mean, Jack, long story short, would you feel the same?
Yeah, totally. I think just touching on what Ben said about him playing last night, it'll be a couple of nights ago if you're watching on the day of the release. But yeah, he's been given the number 5 shirt, which can't always read too much into shirt numbers, but that is a starting centre halves number usually. But I've seen good reviews from Swindon Town fans. Apparently, he got robbed of an assist in the 3-1 win. I don't know. But yeah, he kept a clean sheet on his full debut. They lost on pens, unfortunately. But yeah, I think he's again. I think I said this with Romoney. He might not be starting every week straight away, but I think soon enough his quality will shine through, and whoever's ahead of him right now, if he didn't start in the league, he'll displace him eventually. But yeah, good luck to Romoney, of course, and I'm sure he'll do brilliantly. But a bit of a sour note. There was rumours all week. We didn't really touch on it, I don't think, in the preview of Derby, but it was confirmed. Excuse me. It was confirmed that we did have several COVID cases. First, Carlos Corberan was confirmed that he wouldn't be at Derby, followed by, with the announcement of the team news, Lee Nichols, Lewis O'Brien, Josh Ruffeld and Harry Toffolo, both of our senior left backs, which is unfortunate. So, yeah, it didn't help. There's no better and no worse game than Derby County for that to happen against, with the situation they're in. But, yeah, how big of a blow was it, Ben, to have them players and, of course, the gaffer out for that
game? Obviously, Derby coming into that game, I think everyone were thinking the same thing. It should be quite an easy win. When in retrospect, now thinking about it, it was quite, not disrespectful, but it was quite kind of unforeseen how they would actually play on Saturday. The first 11, they've not really lost too many players, and the first 11 is very much a case of it is championship quality. But it's just when they will face injuries, and they will do. It's a packed season. Yeah. That they will start struggling with injuries, and that will cost them. I feel like, but to have 4 senior players out, and obviously the manager, it's not beneficial at all, of course, but there couldn't really be a worse time as well for the starting game of the season, where so many players are going to have first team debuts or have the chance to have debuts. in the league. It just means that not having the actual proper squad manager behind you, it just does have quite an impact on you. And I feel like it really did on Saturday. We all know the scoreline, and I'm not saying it's a bad result by any shot, following the situation that we were in. But I just feel like with players like Sorba Thomas having to play on the right and things like that, it just didn't really help us at all, missing players that were vital to a 4-3-3 formation, which Carlos has wanted to play. Who would you say was the biggest loss on Saturday then, Jay?
I mean, you look at our side, and there were some pretty established names. I mean, Toff and O'Brien, they're two of our biggest players. But to be honest, I think we adapted massively to the loss of Toffolo and O'Brien. Maybe more so O'Brien, because I was very impressed with Dwayne Holmes. I think he covered a lot of track on his old stomping ground. But actually, I think if you look at it from a managerial standpoint, I think it's quite important to note that Carlos is a big presence on the sideline, as is Bielsa, who he's learnt from. I think in that way they're very similar. I mean, I wouldn't say there was one big loss, because we did put in quite a decent performance, albeit yes against a weak Derby County side on paper. They did surprise, like you said, but to be honest, like you did mention before, Ben, I'm quite satisfied with that result, because this is the first proper game we've played with our new signings, with fans, with the occasion, and I just think when we do have, and hopefully we do have, our full side back on our manager, we will kick on a bit. And now I've just thought, I think if you were to pick out one name from the team to be our biggest loss, it would be Lee Nichols, because another, and I think we'll touch on this now as you've just kind of brought it up, Ben. Another very unconvincing performance from Ryan Schofield. It's not borderline concerning now. It is quite concerning. We've had it for a season now. I know it was last season, was Ryan's inaugural season in the Championship as a proper first team goalkeeper. We all know what Ryan's best at. That's shot stopping. We've said it so many times in this podcast that he's probably one of the best shot stoppers in the league. But when it comes to commanding your box, using your voice, using your height, it's borderline incompetent. And I really hate to say that, but we've seen it so many times, and some of the times he's got off lucky. I remember at Middlesbrough away, he flapped at a ball, gave it completely to their striker, and he scored. I think it was Ashley Fletcher, but thankfully saved by the offside flag. And I just really hope, for Ryan's sake, to save embarrassment, and for our sake, to stop goals going in, that Lee Nichols is back. And that brings me on to the question. We'll just go off on a tangent a bit, just because we kind of do need to talk about Ryan Schofield. Jack, I'll go to you. Do you feel that Ryan would benefit from a League One or even League Two loan, just to build his confidence and physical, strength?
Yeah, I really do. But let's not kid ourselves. That's not happening. There's no way that's going to happen now. I think the club's fairly transparent on this stance on goalkeepers. It is going to be Schofield and Nichols competing for the same spot. But I think as fans, and I hope the coaches do recognise that it's night and day between them. I think we'll just segue this perfectly into Derby County's goal. So Schofield is in charge of commanding his area, setting up the defence from the corner. 5'6" Dwayne Holmes is on the front post. So that's the first mistake. Obviously, the ball goes over his head. He might get a little touch on it. Completely flaps at the ball, and Curtis Davies can just bundle it in. He said it's an own goal, whatever. But the ball's in the back of the net. And I've said this a couple of times now. If Nichols is in goal, we win that game. 100%. There is absolutely no doubt in my mind. And yeah, I like Ryan Scofield. I've defended him to the end of the earth before, and I've said it's confidence. He just needs to get his confidence back because he was when he came into the side, he did look the part. But now I just worry if he will ever kick on because he's not going to be allowed to go on loan. And in a way, I feel bad for him for that because I don't think he's ready. And I think maybe in his heart he knows he's not ready. But someone at the club isn't recognising that. And I can't say who that is. But I think the fans by and large recognise that. And it wasn't the only unconvincing thing about the game, just to properly talk about the game as well. I don't want to just be giving him pelters all this episode because that's not what it's about. I don't like to do this to players, but he just didn't look sure of himself and he took a lot of time on the ball as he tends to do, which we've seen from Lee Nichols he doesn't like to do. Just not a great performance, really, really poor. Positive though, made a great save at the end after messing up from Louis Sibley. So good kept us in it. But we'll talk about other aspects of the game now. We'll leave Paul Ryan alone. So we played with a 3-4-3. Probably wouldn't have played that without the COVID situation, which meant we had, for the first time, Cole, Wilstart and Pearson all playing together. So how do you think that sort of went then, those three together?
I think the two of them should start, Colwell being an integral part of that. I think 2 makes sense, 3 doesn't, because I think Sarr and Pearson are very much alike in the fact that while they can play out from the back, I don't think it's something that they are particularly massively strong at. And quite a lot of times you could see Sarr searching for a long ball, whereas Pearson was going for the kind of short balls. And it's, whilst I think they did the job well, and I think it was necessary, obviously, because we lacked having players in the squad, I think it's something that I don't really want to see too often this season in terms of back threes. I'd much rather see somebody like Ollie Turton or even Harry Toffolo fitting that back three ahead of either Pearson or Sarr. Because don't get me wrong, I love the pair of them. I think they are very good in the 2, and they are good in the 3, but they just have to have that right third person in there as well. I mean, it shoehorns in perfectly, really. Levi Colwell. If you'd have told me he was 26 and he'd played for 8 years in the Championship and all above all lower, I wouldn't have questioned you at all. He was absolutely superb, and he did everything that we've kind of lacked in a centre back, dare I say, for the past few years. You can tell he's come through the Cobham ranks. Everything that you want in a modern centre back, Levi Colwell has. You need somebody to break the lines with passes. You need somebody to be able to come out and break the lines themselves with the dribbling, whilst also being a very competent and strong defender, which he really is. He made a small mistake early on and recovered for it brilliantly, and he just does look like he fits into that defence, like he's been playing for so long, when in reality it's his first. Saturday was his first league start, and you wouldn't have been able to tell that from a Derby point of view, which is it's quite baffling if you're honest. I think it's just another really good loan that we've looked at, and I hope Sinani's kind of on the same kind of page as that. But I hope he's going to be added to that list of Chelsea loanees that we've had over the past 3 or 4, even 5 seasons. They've gone to do amazing things for us, and hopefully next season we can continue to establish a relationship with the Chelsea Academy and keep getting young players that are doing so well. Because you look at the likes of Conor Gallagher, who last season had a massive season in the Championship, and look where he's at now. Like it's unbelievable, really. So I think Colwell is one of the best signings, dare I say, of the window. Even though it's so early, but just from Saturday, you can tell he's going to be such a big part of the squad. Obviously, Sinani won't involve too much, but what can you expect when you come on in the 89th minute? There's not really much you can do. But another player that was absolutely brilliant. Jack, you spoke about it before. You got some stats up. Sorba Thomas, just how good was he?
He was phenomenal. I'll be perfectly honest. Beforehand, I've not been totally convinced, and I've still got question marks over parts of his game, being finishing mainly. But now that's all the bad things out of the way. yeah, he was absolutely phenomenal. I'm smiling just thinking about it, man. It was phenomenal. He's got surreal work ethic playing left wing back. He's a flair player, he's a flashy player, but to play left wing back as good as he did, didn't let Byrne have anything, did handle Josviaku. I don't particularly rate, but he's a threat with his pace and his footwork. Handled him expertly. Yeah, he was phenomenal. A lot of Derby fans took to social media, sort of asking, who is he? Is he a Premier League loanee? Is he? Is he superhuman? No, I can stop now. But yeah, it was fantastic. And the stat that you're talking about, and the stat that's been mentioned a fair few times now, is he made 9 key passes in that game. And for context, just did a little bit of research. Emiliano Buendia averaged 3 a game. And I'm in no way saying Sorba Thomas is better than Emiliano Buendia, but that's the level. This Buendia has Sorba Thomas posted. Anyway, but yeah, he was that's the level that 9 key passes is at. And key passes are a bit hard to sort of judge, but absolutely phenomenal performance. And I assume he won't be playing left wing back much more often, but I think that could be good for him, because if that's what you can do from left wing back, then what can you do as a winger? Yeah, there you go. That's the one. But yeah, we'll move on now, and I've said my bit, so I'm going to sort of invite Jay to talk about another aspect of his game which worked flawlessly, and that's set piece delivery.
Unbelievable. I mean, before I do touch on the set pieces, I think Sorba massively benefited of having the away end to his back. I think it was 3 minutes in, and Naby Sarr turned into prime Pirlo. He's pinging balls out to Sorba. Sorba was taking him down, and immediately he had that roar on his back, and he'd just go. And if he lost it, he'd shuttle back. He was just incredible. And yeah, we've got a new Mr. Whippy. I mean, I have not seen a set piece taker at Huddersfield Town like that for a long time. I don't think he took one unsuccessful corner or one unsuccessful set piece. I think we had a fair few, just without looking at the exact numbers. But there was one. Stroke of half time. Very, very nice and inviting position. I think Danny Ward's done very, very well to draw the foul. And he's just put it on a sixpence. I mean, it is unbelievable. Just thinking about it now, it just brings a smile to your face, because that's the type of quality we've been missing. I mean, we had big, stocky strikers like Depoitre and Mounier, and we had no service. But Sorba, sometimes it just leaves you speechless, because it's such an exciting prospect that we actually got someone who can put a ball in. And I think he was that one player who just had every single Town fan raving after that. And you can tell he's come from non-league, because he's just hungry. He's a hungry player. Like you said, Jack, he did not walk one bit. He sprung right back into action. And you can tell he's going to be one to look out for. And if he carries on like that, I think quite a good few Championship fans are going to be looking at him and think, oh, we need a player like him. I mean, Ben, would you agree?
Yeah, I mean, when he first signed, I think he was often kind of compared to Josh Koroma, in the fact that Koroma had just come up from Leyton Orient, who had just had a really successful National League campaign. Bournemouth didn't do as well as Leyton Orient, but it's a kind of similar kind of aspect that 2 very quick wingers come from National League, and it'd be a kind of project on them. I remember in January, he said in his interview that he wasn't really expecting too much of the season. Had been told that he'd just be eased into playing for Huddersfield, and 6 months on, 8 months on, and he's potentially should be one of the first names on the team sheet there, I say. He played left wing back a few times for Bournemouth, I got told. But he's just so versatile. I mean, he can play left wing back with ease. So it means that if we do have another case where Toffel or Ruffles are out, then we have a left wing back there. Obviously, it's not exactly the best place to play him, but he's still a threat from there. So imagine him in a more advanced role at the pitch. It could be absolutely brilliant. And I mean, like you said, Jay, it's set pieces. I mean, for the past few seasons, I'm not going to mention any names, but a midfielder who now plays in the Northeast in red and white, getting corners to the front post was an issue. And now to have somebody that consistently is putting balls into the box from set piece and looks absolutely brilliant doing it is amazing. And in the fixture against Norwich in pre-season, Levi Colwill was always on the end of the set pieces. Yeah. And so to see him, he will be a starter for us week in, week out. I think we all know that. And then to partnering with another tall defender that we will have, it's going to be a threat. And I think this season we will be a high set piece scoring side, which we haven't said in absolutely years, to say we've had some absolute machines up front for us in the past few years. Which is it's lovely to hear, because it just adds another dimension to us as a squad. Because if you think about it, last season a lot of our goals came just from open play, and we were often under threat from set pieces. Whereas now, to be a side that will be attacking from set pieces and look strong in the air, it is really, really nice to see, and it's clear to see how much they've been worked on. Because I could tell you now there was at least 4 or 5 routines that happened at corners, and it is so new to me that it just, I don't think it's even sunk in yet how much we've actually focused on things like this. Because I mean, even from corners we looked a threat, and from an indirect free kick we looked absolutely brilliant and well set up for it. So even defending set pieces we looked a lot better than we did last season. Yeah. So it is so clear that was one of the things at the end of the season that Kyle's has looked at and gone, you know what, we need to work on this, and it's come on leaps and bounds. It really, really has. And I mean, I think it'd be fair to round up the Derby game by star of the week. Obviously, I think it'll probably be quite hard to guess who. Obviously, I think it'll be Sorba Thomas for this week. But speaking about what's happened today, the Carabao Cup draw, we've got Everton at home. How are we both feeling about
that? Yeah, just like to mention first, when you said a midfielder in the Northeast, I thought you were talking about Aaron Moy. So that shows I didn't do geography. But so Everton. Yeah, I'm really excited, to be honest. I'm quite glad we've got a decent Premier League opposition, because it'll be a good test. In the same way, Wednesday was a good test, and for the opposite reason. The side that's just gone down with a lot to prove. And I think Everton are in a bit of what's the word, limbo at the moment. So they're not really there, and they're not really there. The signings have been made while sort of, all Premier League players, Premier League standard, not very exciting compared to the Allen, the James Rodriguez, the Richarlison of years gone by. But I was just saying to Ben before we started filming, I really hope we do go close to full strength. Probably not full strength, just don't be silly, don't risk it too much, because it is only the cup, and it is a game which Everton will be expected to win. Of course. So, but I would like to see a good, strong team. I would like to say maybe Ruffles getting his debut or something. But yeah, so that it will be on Tuesday the 24th. I think it's been confirmed. So yeah, I'm massively looking forward to it. I think we're all in agreement, and it'll be a good one. But I think let's keep talking about games in the future. Most notably, when you'll be watching this, it'll be 1 day time.
2 days.
Fulham, 2 days time. Well, Fulham at home, back at the John Smith Stadium. Yeah, can't wait. I think is what I will say. Just really, really can't wait. We don't really know what the COVID situation is right now. I think there'll probably be a press conference in the next couple of days. But yeah, it will. It'll just be great to be back, and probably on paper the best team in the league. Harry Wilson obviously scoring a lovely goal against Middlesbrough, but they didn't look too great. Is what I will say. They looked very much a team of individuals to me for large portions of that match, and Middlesbrough took advantage. So Yeah, what I will say is, while I think it's obvious Fulham are favourites, I think it's a championship, anything can happen, and we do, under Carlos, have a history of playing better against more footballing technical sides. So that's all I'll say on that. And hopefully we can cause a bit of an upset. But Ben, what do you think, mate?
Yeah, I think it's definitely a test. I think the opening fixture is all a really good test for different reasons, and I'm going to include Everton in that as well. We faced two kind of weaker opponents, then we're facing two very, very strong opponents pretty much back to back in the likes of Fulham and Everton. It is a massive test, and I don't think anybody can shy away from that, because whilst Derby was a test for a case of to see how potentially good we can be, I think Fulham are going to be a lot more offensively sound than Derby were, respectfully, and that is something that we fully haven't seen yet. But hopefully, it's with a back four, so we can actually see how we are lining up and how strong we are as an actual solid unit with the actual starting team. However, I don't know if obviously COVID results will commit that. So I mean, it's one of them games where Fulham at John Smith Stadium is normally a fixture where you cover your eyes after 15, 20 minutes, because obviously we've had a few unfavourable results in the past against them. But it could be a chance to just go and show everyone what we actually are made of this season. And if we can play a 4-3-3, which we will favour all season, improve and have a shock result as such, it will be a massive bolster not only to the squad and to show the league what we're about, but also to the fans. Because I think for the past 18 months, no one's going to deny that watching Town at times has been not the best. Away from home and at home, we've had leads and we've thrown them away at times. So if we can go back in this first game back, the fans are on the side of the team, and we can have a very, very good 90 minutes against one of the favourites to go up, it'll only get the fans behind the team more, and that is something that the entire club right now really, really needs. Would you agree, Jay?
Completely, yeah. I think first and foremost, before a ball will even be kicked on Saturday, I think it's just going to be a sense of overriding joy, just to be back, because it's been ages. It's been absolutely ages. Every day is just dragged. Personally, I think I'll speak for many football fans, not just Huddersfield Town, just across the country, that these past 18 months without football and without having that routine of waking up and thinking, yeah, I'm going to go watch my team get battered or batter someone today, or settle for a 0-0 draw. It's been tough. And I think, like you said, Ben, these players in front of a home crowd, a new manager, what's it to lose, really? All we can ask is for those players to go out, fight for the shirt, show that Terrier spirit. Might be cliche, but it has to happen. And who knows what can happen? It's the Championship, for me, the best, the most entertaining, and the most unpredictable league in the world by far. So yeah, I'm buzzing. Obviously, really hoping for 3 points. Obviously, Fulham are the favourites for the game, but who knows? We've got Sorba Thomas, the magician. He's going to be one of those players who Fulham might have a clue about. They'll only be able to watch 90 minutes of him last week and think, oh, who's he? And I think we got quite a few players like that, because we've brought in some players who no one had or has a clue about. For example, Sinani, he could come on, make an impact. So we've got plenty of resources to give Fulham a good go, I think, personally.
Yeah, definitely. Let's see if Sorba Thomas can make Champions League semi-finalist Kenny Tete dance. But anyway, one last thing and another game to preview, obviously, because it's our first sort of 2-game match week. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We've got Preston. We've got Preston on Tuesday night. So John Smith twice in about 4 days. Brilliant. But yeah, Preston, I worry for this season. I really do. And those worries are sort of cemented by the opening day. I think it's fair to say embarrassment by the Tigers. I'm sure the Mauled by the Tigers chant was brought out once or twice, but yeah, it's a good time to play Preston. It could be our first 3 points of the season, and if we don't beat Fulham, I think it should be. I think the way we do play and the options we will have 100%, because whether they're back for Fulham, I don't know, but they will be back for Preston 100%. Excuse me. But yeah, it'll be a good game. I think there's not much we can say about it before the Fulham game, of course. But I don't think we can say that much. Just that it'll be a battle, and it'll be a game where I think we should really push and try get that 3 points. It's a game we really, really can win. But yeah, I think that is about it. So Ben, if you want to take it away.
Yeah, I mean, just to touch another thing on the Preston game. I mean, I don't know if many of you have seen. I think it's Tom Barkhausen's interview after the game, where he just ranted about the club. I mean, that's one of the most senior players. It's a player that's been there for a number of years now. For a player like that to come out to the press and say, "Look, we understand it," and to the fans, we can't imagine how that must be, because they've been asking for players at the club. For one of your own players to be saying that they need players at the club is absolutely baffling, and I'd argue that he's kind of on the level as Derby is kind of like the baffling in the Championship. You know, Preston are a club that for ages have kind of always been up there, at least mid-table.
Yeah.
And to see them struggling like they are, and to see the players coming out and saying this, and behind the scenes it will definitely be worse. It's another massive chance to be playing them and to really get a kickstart for the season if we haven't against Fulham, because if you can come away from the first 3 games, so we've got 4 points against 3 very good teams from last season, you're going to be saying, you know what, that's a very good outcome. Like it's such an ideal time to play them with. Obviously, there is issues at the club, so if we can put more worries at the club, obviously it's never nice to say that, but if we can bolster our own chances and potentially put another, maybe even rival at the bottom of the table, dare I say, because obviously we don't know the extent of the issues at Preston, but if we can put another lower league rival and put a distance between ourselves, and it'll definitely be helpful. I think that's a nice note to end it off on. Thank you for watching another episode. It's episode 15 now. So yeah, thank you for watching. Please obviously do subscribe if you aren't already, and likes and shares are always appreciated. So yeah, it has been an absolute pleasure to be joined by Jack and Jay as always, and we will see you next week to preview hopefully 2 wins, and yeah, see you next week.